Hey Oz, I'm an assassin now.
Seriously, what can that do that this can't?
Yeah, I got nothing.
Shadiversity.
Now, I know this changes like in later Assassin's Creed games, but the first ones, there was this idea, this assumption that the wrist dagger required you chopping off a finger, I think it was the ring finger, for the dagger to come out properly. The problem is, you would never need it to, like, if, you know, a dagger was legitimately fixed onto the bottom of the wrist, when it, like, just curling your fist like this doesn't put your knuckles in the way of the dagger coming out unless you actually hold your hand down like this, which would be a bit ridiculous. Just holding your hand normally, the dagger will not hit it, and if you're really, you know, concerned, just lift it a tiny bit.
Blade. I managed to decode that parchment of yours. It showed me exactly what to do. Now all that's left is to remove your ring finger.
Really?
I'm sorry, but this is how it must be done. The blade is designed to ensure the commitment of whoever wields it.
Bene. Do it quickly.
I was only having fun, Ezio. Though the blade once required a sacrifice, it's been modified. You can keep your finger.
Incredible.
Yes, it is. Tell me, do you have other pages like this?
But there is a larger elephant in the room, in my opinion, regarding a wrist dagger like this, and that is if they're actually more functional than a regular dagger. Now you might say, it's not about function, Shad, it's about concealability. Concealability, yes. There seems to be a lot of places you can hide it. You could even hide it underneath, you know, if you had a scab. Or what about underneath there, like, slip it through there. And so if this didn't have a cross guard, right, I could actually slide it all the way up my wrist, like people have done for lots of times. But what if people search you? Could they find the dagger then? This is the thing. I think having a fairly elaborate bracer with some type of mechanism on the underside of the forearm would be a little conspicuous as well. The contraption on the underside of the wrist is fairly out in the open. Now, would they know it's like a hidden dagger contraption? But still, I think it would raise questions. I mean, if you're in that universe and you're automatically seeing someone wear a hood like that, be automatically suspect. Assassins, not exactly inconspicuous in this universe. The biggest drawback for the Assassin's Creed wrist dagger, in my opinion, is actually the functionality, okay? By restricting a dagger onto the underside of the wrist, you're actually locking off a lot of angles and versatility that you would get out of just using a dagger normally. When a dagger is in your hand, you have a lot of motion. Look at all the motions and angles I'm able to put this dagger, okay? I can face it forward, I can face it up, I can face it down, all the sides. Like, for me to redirect this dagger, I actually have to move my arm to do it. Look at this. I'm not moving my arm. This is all wrist action, which creates a huge limitation in its versatility. It's really hard. They're a bit tall. So in terms of versatility, the wrist dagger is garbage. It's not a good weapon, guys. Now, it still would be able to be used for a measure of effect because you can just go up someone's like, aha! Having a dagger on the wrist makes it much harder to do slashing cuts, like to do, you know, a cut like this. You have to angle the blade very specifically to do that. But, of course, holding it normally, you can angle it wherever you need, sneaking up behind someone and slashing their throat, okay? You've seen it in a lot of movies. Let's try and do that with a wrist dagger. Let's see how so I'll need to angle my entire arm up around, so like that. So like that. But that is such an awkward, look at how high I need to raise my arm. So it is interesting, as I was mentioned, that the developers, someone kind of perhaps saw some of the limitations and said, oh, let's make a version that can flick down and you could then kind of use it like that. Gives a bit more versatility, and one you can even detach. I find that very interesting. You're telling me that you could get more versatility out of detaching the blade from the wrist position. So my answer is then, why fix it to the wrist position in the first place? This is dumb. Perhaps there is one advantage I could give to the wrist dagger, okay? And that is the notion of surprise. With a regular assassin thing, is this close, flick, and it'll, you know, stick out, kill him instantly, and you can flick it back in as a really, really quick motion. You just, there, dead, and you keep walking. Because you've done that in Assassin's Creed, where it's like one of those really, really quick assassinations. You're walking past, and then you just did nothing. How quick could you draw a dagger normally and do that and hide the dagger again? Perhaps not as fast, but the question is, would it be fast enough? Walking, dead, then back up. I think that's pretty fast, don't you think? There's more motions in it, okay? And the more movement you have, the more noticeable it would be. Yeah, I could give it that. I could give it that functional acknowledgement. But to be used more constantly as a weapon when you're actually fighting people, it's a really lousy weapon being fixed to the thing, and you're better off just using a regular dagger. Now, they had armor on or something, you needed to get in where a vulnerable area was, you know? Suddenly, the limitations on the wrist dagger would become a severe problem. Thanks for letting me kill you. Can you shove it up someone's rear? You have to kneel down. See, with the dagger, you're already there. It's right there. This one is a lot harder. Shove it where the sun don't shine.
That's called the secret stab.
The secret stab. Another issue with the wrist dagger, okay? And this would be an issue that would just exist in real life. And they don't do it in the game because, you know, in the game they want to show the wrist dagger to be a perfect, great weapon that never accidentally triggers. Though I haven't played every single Assassin's Creed game. Let me know in the comments. Is there ever a cutscene or something where the wrist dagger accidentally triggers? Now, people have made Assassin's Creed daggers in real life and done different triggering mechanisms. And resetting it, like the force you would need to pull it back in to reset the dagger, like click, okay, would be really, really high with the amount of force that the wrist dagger is shown to having when it flicks out. So as you can tell, I don't actually like the Assassin's Creed wrist dagger. Look, I admit it looks cool. That was the point. And for a game, perhaps that's all you need. I personally like a bit more realism. And when you break it down and you find all these problems, That whole finger chopping off thing is so dumb. I'm going to trigger so many Assassin's Creed fanboys.
Well, it's Ubisoft. Probably already triggered.
I've enjoyed, like, Black Flag was great.
I never played Black Flag.
It's the best one.
Hands down.
Okay.
Hands
Played
down.
3 and Black Flag. And Black Flag.
See, I tried the Egyptian one, got bored pretty quickly because of all the grind. And then I tried, of course, you know, Valhalla, and got bored really quickly because of the grind. And this is the thing, even if you can try and find some possible redeeming features with it, right? I don't think that balances against all its massive problems and all the advantages you get out of just a regular dagger. It's concealable, it's more versatile, it's just as deadly. Looking forward to reading them, and of course, hoping to see you on the next video here on Shadiversity. So until that time, farewell.